you doing?
Good. One of the features of this is what they call a lich gate, and it's a covered entrance into the church property. And the reason for a lich gate, it's very popular in England. There were only two in New Brunswick, and I think this is the last one in North America that still exists, is that for a funeral, this was a church for the common people, and so a lot of times they wouldn't be able to afford a casket for the body, so the body would be just on a cart. And while they were waiting for the procession of the clergy and everyone to come along, if it was inclement weather, that was a safe place to keep it out of the weather and dry while they were waiting for the funeral to go.
You know the worst thing about it? I walked by a million times and I never even noticed it.
That was that.
I never noticed it.
Oh, lich gate. Lich meaning corpse.
Something tells me I'm going to learn a lot of things here.
So the other big feature when you first come in is the font, which is the baptismal font, and but it's made so that it drains directly into the earth, because you don't want to put holy water that if it's been blessed back into the storm system, you want to go just back to the earth to where it came from.
How old is that?
170 years.
Wow.
That was put in when the chapel was built. So the reason why it's the first thing is because you need to be baptized when you come into the church, to be part of the church. This was the first church that had free pews. You didn't have to pay for your pew, for your seat. So it was for the people. This area here is known as the nave, where the congregation sat, and nave is a term for naval vessel. So if you happen to look above your head, you'll see it looks like the bottom of a boat.
Oh, yeah.
That was the way of creating the strength for the structure for the high ceilings in that Gothic style, 13th century Gothic.
Wow.
The most chapels run east to west, east being towards Jerusalem, west being the setting sun. This is one chapel that's north-south. So Bishop Medley wanted it just a little different. So, but yet on the north side is where most of the stained glass predominantly is, and there's nothing, just clear glass in the back.
How old is that glass up front?
That's original as well, so that's 170 years old.
Never had no damage, no vandalism?
They had a chance. They restored 20 years ago. There was a risk. There was some damage going on in Fredericton. We were able to put plexiglass protective on it, and it's been safe. They shipped that over from England in molasses barrels of molasses.
Yeah.
That kept it safe. Unfortunately, the lead that holds it all in place bled into the molasses, and they used the molasses because they used everything back in those days, and people did get sick. They had some lead poisoning, which was an unfortunate side effect of bringing that here.
What's your first name anyway? Sorry.
Mike.
Mike, how long have you been here?
I've been here 53 years.
53 years? Great. So
I was baptized in this church.
So great. So as an Anglican, right?
As an Anglican.
So as a good Anglican, are you gonna play that for me?
Well, if it was a Cassavant, we might try it, but it was moved out when they built the new church. It's just a keyboard now.
That is so. Is there an organ? No.
There's just a keyboard, electronic keyboard underneath.
It works.
Yeah.
Works. Yeah. They play it. Somebody.
We have the organist for the church will play it if they do services. They do a service here usually at Christmas time, and then through the summertime sometimes we'll do services because the smaller congregation. It's one of the few churches that actually has the fresco painting on the plaster. Mm-hmm. Normally it's not in Anglican churches or chapels. But they have here in the rood screen, it's all hand carved, and all the wood came from the New Brunswick area that they used. The tile is from England, And it went over all the flooring, but the Fredericton garrison, it was established in Fredericton because it was growing. It was a growing village, and they wanted the safety, so they used to come here for service. Well, their big old hobnail boots was ruining the tiles, so they cut rough timber off back property and put it down the floor, so that's what's underneath the pews now to save the tiles.
A lot of history here.
Oh, a ton of history, yeah. It's that was an old entrance, but they covered it over when they put the choir stall in. This is just the sacristy on the side where the minister would robe and get ready for service.
Oh yeah. My God, how old would that be now, the Bible?
Looks like one of the older. Is it?
Common Prayer, Canada.
That's the prayer book, yeah. That would have been on the front altar, so it's likely the early edition. Might be a
good shape.
Yeah, it's a fairly good shape.
Very good shape.
No, it's likely close to 100.
Oh, April 9th. Oh, died. Okay, hold it. The glory of God. Memory, Raymond Medley. Okay, is that who you were talking about earlier? No. Age 19 years old. Died of wounds received at Venivage, France.
Wow.
Yeah. You know anything about that?
No, I don't.
See, you're learning something new every day, right?
Every time I come in, I do. That's very true. And tiles on the floor. They have 4 symbols for the Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And then there's also the pelican, the mother pelican, and she's pierced herself to feed her babies, and the blood is going down. So it symbolizes Christ and what Christ did for his children.
Wow. You know, I'll mention her name in this video. You know Myra Stewart?
Yes.
Yeah, she was a good friend of mine. It would be a year next month.
Yeah.
No, she was. I'll tell you stories about her off the record. No, she was all right. She was my neighbor on top.
Oh, okay. Yep. So that's
it.
That's our little chapel.
That's good.
When they built it, the fellow Frank Wills, wasn't used to Fredericton or New Brunswick winters, so they had no real central heating. So the holes in the floor, they looked kind of hastily cut, and that's exactly what it was. They ended up cutting holes and putting grates so that they could have a couple stoves downstairs to bring some heat.
And there was no internet in those days, so this was like a gathering.
Oh my goodness, yes, that's right.
Now, explain to me again, that's twice I see that. I remember seeing it at the Christ Church over there. Now, okay, what exactly is this all about?
The eagle is a symbol for St. John the Baptist, who brought the word out to the people. In the wilderness, he brought the word, which was God's word, which is the Bible in this case. And so it is symbolic of that, of St. John the Baptist taking the word into the people. So the Bible usually always sits on an eagle. And this one is hand carved out of butternut, I believe.
Okay, so why you don't see that in the Catholic Church, an eagle?
No.
So
it could be an Anglican form. I'm not sure whether that's.
I saw that.
That was one of the symbols that we, as Anglicans, have.
So when he reads from there.
Yes.
And then he preaches from there.
And that's the pulpit. Yes.
That's where people look at their watch.
Yeah. That's why you don't see any watches or switches.
Another story I'll tell you off the camera. Listen. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Very good. Thank you.